Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do an overview on the Eutektik Trinity. This is going to be Liong Mah's sort of budget line, and he has 3 models right now. I believe it's this one, the Trinity. There's a field duty sort of looking one, and then there's one other one I can't quite remember the name of, but those 2 aren't out yet. This one is. I do really like this, but I think it's a little too large. And then they didn't do the reversible clip. Liong Mah told me that they forgot, and then they could have added the reversible clip, but it would have taken an extra month or 2. So he wanted to have knives to sell at the show, so he just took them as is. So I will probably sell this one here and then maybe get another one once the reversible clip versions are in. If that happens, maybe a different model will have a reversible clip. And honestly, this one I don't think is ultimately for me. I think the field duty looking one is probably my favorite. So we'll see how that goes. But this is a really good sort of budget offering from Liong. And I'm excited to see what he does in the future. I love the logo. That E looks really, really clean. It's got some cartoon aspect to it. I really like that. There's some gripes I have on the knife, and we'll talk about that. So let's get into it. This is the Trinity from Eutektik. So you have a 3.75-inch blade on this guy, a big-ass knife. So, for example, here is the Mini Tempest, which is a 3.5-inch blade. It dwarfs the Mini Tempest. Here is the Hogue Ritter RSK MK1. Knives Live 2021 edition, of course. Pivot to pivot, you can see 3.5 inches here, 3.75 here. Handle is about the same, so this knife isn't quite getting dwarfed. It's just a little bit bigger than the Hogue, which is cool. Here is the Luft Concepts Avant. 3.3 or 3.4 inch blade, I believe. It's a bit bigger than that guy. And hopefully that gives you a good idea of the size. One big boy knife is the Renegade EDC Gungnir. There you go. The Gungnir does dwarf this guy by quite a bit. You got a 4.25 inch blade on Gungnir. So there you have it. All right. I think it looks cool. I think the hole is a little too massive for the blade. It looks a little bit odd. To me, it kind of looks like somebody modded this knife. Like they had a clean blade and they modded it, and that's why it looks a little too big. I don't know how to explain that better. Like, my good buddy Backpack B recently modded a Ferrum Forge Gent, and he put a hole in it. It just looks out of place because it's such a huge-ass hole on a tiny blade. And that's kind of how this feels to me. Now, it works really well. So I don't have anything against it. I just think it looks a little goofy. The choil is enormous, but that's sort of a Liong Mah thing, although he usually does it half and half with the handle. In this case, he wanted a flipper tab, so he had to go into the handle and then make it 3.5 inches to give you enough blade length. So it just feels like maybe a little bit like the blade to handle is a little bit off the ratio, because his choil takes up so much room. It almost seems like the blade starts here and then you have all this handle, right? It is in black micarta, which is actually really nice. I like this micarta. It's done pretty well. It's kind of like the Civivi version, but I think it's a little bit nicer in the hand. It just feels a little bit grippier. Feels a little more like micarta, but still has that sort of G10 quality as well. I love the sort of bead blast look on everything. This looks to be maybe a heavy stonewash. Everything else, hardware and stuff, I guess that's stonewash. So this is bead blasted. Looks really good. Standoffs too. Yeah, the ergonomics, super comfortable in this back grip. Melts in your hand. The jimping's very good. Lands right where your thumb is. Feels good. You could choke up like this, and now the jimping is basically gone, which, you know, not the best, but hey, what are you going to do? And you have a huge choil, so it is very comfortable in both grips, and you got a lot of blade to manipulate. You can hold it in a pinch grip. It's kind of got a clip point blade, sort of drop point, clip point, so not my favorite, but you know, definitely solid. The centering is a little bit off to the clip side on this guy right here. Tell you if there's any play, maybe the slightest bit of play. I'm sure I could tune it to be centered. It's on bearings, looks to be 5mm 1/16 bearings if anybody wants to swap them. Pricing on this guy, so what I originally heard was these were going to be like 150 bucks when they came out, and excuse me, I was taking a drink, and what he told me at the show was 120 normally, so maybe these are going to be 120. And then it was $80 at the show. So it's D2 steel and black micarta liner lock on bearings. Very good quality, though. It's a quality budget knife. These are made in Taiwan, not in China. So I think the 80 buck mark is actually really good. The 120 is a little pricey, but hey, you look at the Demco 80-20.5 with Grivery and D2, or Grivery and Aus 10, and you're at 150. So, you know, both made in Taiwan is where I'm going there. So I think 120 is a good price, acceptable price. 80 at the show was really good, I think. Now this is probably going to be up for sale. I'm going to do a big sale video. It might be up before you see this, so that might be interesting. But if you're interested, let me know. I don't know what I'd sell it for. I'm really bad at selling things for more than I paid. But if they're going to go for 120 and I paid 80, maybe I'd ask 100. Just because I need to recoup funds. But I don't know. I'll probably do it for 80. It's essentially brand new. I flicked it a couple of times. So D2 is one of my drawbacks here. I just rust everything, and D2 is so easily rustable for me. It is a good stonewash, so you never know, but it's also just a little too big. So I don't think I'd carry it in general because of the size and the clip point and everything. Yeah, so didn't carry it, haven't carried it. It's got a deep carry clip, looks really good, fold over. It's not too heavy for its size. It's nice and thin. It's just pretty long. I would suspect it carries very well. Cutting, again, didn't cut a thing with this. Stock is relatively average. Nice flat grind, starts right up at the top. It's going to come down to a thin edge. D2 blade. If I know Liong, it's sharp as fuck. It's going to cut really well. He is a chef first, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to cutlery and ergonomics. It sounds really good. I think it sounds really good. Action, again. Detent is on point, guys. The detent is fantastic. Really snappy on this guy. You can reverse flick it. You can thumb flick it easily. You can flipper flip it. You can front flip it from the top like that. And then you can also do a reach around move and grab it like so. Jimping is done really well in the front flipper. Goes all the way up to the end of the mohawk. Catch it and flip. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. They did a great job for a budget style knife. They killed it, guys. Oh, and the drop. I mean, just a slight shake, and she is dropping all the way. I could imagine putting skips in here or letting it break in, etc. It's going to be money. And that's with that excellent detent. It's the benefit of having a heavy blade and having the choil, so kind of the weight is at the front. Downsides. Okay, So D2, right? Don't really love D2 for the price or on anything. Honestly, I'm so over D2. It's basically whatever steel they have laying around that week, so you don't know what you're going to get. The lock bar access is really bad. I wish it just had more. It's doable, but it's annoying enough that I'm mentioning it, and I would sell this knife over it, I think. I'm going to sell it anyway, but I would definitely recommend cutting back a little bit more here, or, you know, however you want to do it, but it needs more lock bar access. It's kind of a thing with knives these days. A lot of them don't have good access, and it's such an easy thing to get right, I think, you know. Other than that, I mean, it's not centered perfectly, but other than that, I think it's fantastic. I wish it had the reversible clip. I'd be much more inclined to keep it. But I'll definitely be trying the other models and seeing which one I like best. Definitely digging the Field Duty one. It just looks mean. But I hope they're not all this big. I'd really like to have one that's, you know, 3 1/4 inches, 3 1/2 at the most. You know, but there you go. That's the Eutektik Trinity and Black Micarta and D2. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm a pretty big fan. Can't wait to see what Liong comes up with next. And yeah, I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.